We'll call the meeting to order for the Affordable Housing Trust today, March 27th at 8:49 a.m. And we'll have a roll call order of present. So working around the screen, Paul Grady.
Paul Grady present.
Rob Jeffers. Rob, we can't hear you still. Something's wrong with the sound. You're not muted. In the meantime, David Pfeiffer.
David Pfeiffer here.
Rob Henry.
Rob Henry here.
And back to you, Rob Jeffers. Not working. Let it be known that Rob Jeffers is here via video. Thank you. Are there any public comments that are not on the agenda? Mr. Shivo, I'm going to recognize you once we get to the update on 147 Main Street. But Cassandra, are there any other public comments?
No.
Okay. All right, then we can move on to the agenda and update on the project at 147 South Main Street.
Good morning. Yes.
Okay.
I have a with the fire department this morning. They're going to be doing their inspection here in about 15 or 20 minutes, but we should be able to review it. So we're on track. I'm only a week behind. I was tied up with some minor things the plumbing company had to finish. I went through the final plumbing inspection, final electrical inspection. John Hallen did a walkthrough, and this morning the fire department will test the sprinkler system and the fire alarm, system as well. So after that, then John Hallen should sign off for the occupancy permits, and we should be ready to launch here pretty quickly.
Excellent news. And so do you have an estimate for when you're expecting the occupancy?
I should be ready to do whatever I need to do here by April 15th at the latest.
Okay, so by mid-April.
Yes.
And
in fact, do some landscaping, but the weather hasn't cooperated so far this week.
Certainly not for any of us. Is there anything else that is on the to-do list that you want to let us know about?
Large, if I do, I can certainly reach out to you.
Okay.
So far, I'm, on schedule.
And since one of the units we know is going to be listed as affordable under the low and moderate income housing guidelines. And I know that we had supported you with some funds to process the listing of that and the lottery system that goes through in establishing who will be able to rent that.
Right.
Can I speak to this?
Oh, please, Cassandra.
So at the last meeting, and this is kind of part of the reason why it is on today's agenda, Mr. Shivo was unable to list the affordable unit through MCO housing due to time constraints. And those funds that you're referencing have not been expended as of yet.
Got it.
So at the last meeting, it was discussed that perhaps the agreement with the trust be reconfigured, if you will, because Mr. Shivo was volunteering that affordable unit. He was going to look into exploring making the unit affordable later on in the process instead of immediately up front. So today's meeting was really to discuss the agreement with the trust and if there was anything that could be changed to better support his project. And I do have the letter from the trust up, or can bring it up if you would like.
Okay, that's probably a good idea because it's a little bit.
It's probably not at the top of everybody's mind what it says.
So, yeah, it's definitely not been in mind. So can you all read this?
I can zoom in a little bit too.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, and I missed the portion of the meeting that we had earlier in March that must have discussed what the issues were with the delay. So is it the case that the unit that is designated as affordable won't be rented at all until the affordable aspect, or the whatever proof we need through DHCD and the other authorities have allowed it into the lottery system?
I believe, and Mr. Schiavo, you could speak to this if you'd like. I believe he plans to rent the unit in the meantime while he works in the background to have it become eligible to be an official affordable unit with a lottery and getting on the SHI count.
Yes, that's correct. Because they had said it would take anywhere from a minimum of 9 months, but they were figuring more towards 15 months before that could happen.
I see.
I have to go from a builder's developer's loan to a normal 20 or 30-year mortgage. So I would not be able to do that without the occupancy of that unit. So that's what we, the plans were, to at least rent it as affordable, obviously. And then the person that would be there would be able to stay and fold over into the next phase of the plan.
Okay, so it would be something along the lines of a 9 to 12 month lease for that affordable designated unit?
Exactly.
Are you saying you're going to pursue a renter on the basis that they would have the option to buy? I mean, you're really trying to get somebody that's going to long-term buy the unit?
No, that they would be there at least for like a 1 to 3 year type of a lease, and it would be under the affordable part of it.
Yeah, I assume what you're talking about in terms of the mortgage is your personal mortgage for the property.
Exactly. Right, because development loans are very expensive, and normally, like this has been going on, they're normally anywhere from a year to 2 years. I'll be at the 1.5 year line soon, and I'll be flipping it over to a mortgage, and you have to have leases in order to do that.
Right.
So there's been a lot of inquiries about the unit, so that's not going to be a problem.
Okay.
And what happens about furnishing and all that part of it? And then if they have to move out?
The idea would be, I was going to work with this committee so we make sure that we got guidelines of a person that's in there or a family that's in there would be able to stay there, because it would just fold over into the next phase of it, if that makes any sense.
No, what do you mean by the next phase?
Well, they would go in as, this is a voluntary affordable unit at this point, and then when it goes through the proper channels, they would be able to stay there.
As
Sandra, doesn't it have to
renters or buying it?
These are rental units.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought it was. I just want to make sure.
Yes, right. So the income guidelines in the beginning would allow them to do that.
Okay, so if they furnished it, then obviously they'd be able to retain that and make it a smooth transition.
Exactly.
Cassandra, I think I need to ask the question though. We could have someone who would qualify as low and moderate income in that apartment, but doesn't it still have to go back to the lottery system to be in compliance with the state and federal guidelines?
Yes.
Okay,
So they could qualify or intend to qualify, but then they would still have to go through the application process.
That's fine.
So it wouldn't necessarily automatically go to them.
Right.
Right. So I want to be clear, is like, you can't put somebody in there, say, we're going to make this affordable, and say, oh, you guys get to stay. That, it's like, if you want to make it affordable, they can apply. But if there's somebody with, some, the lottery system, picks, they would have to move out. So I don't know that this is the great, I mean, I missed the beginning part of it, but I don't, what's the, I'm very sorry, because I couldn't talk, I had to just switch things. Why are we not going directly to affordable? What's the issue there?
So basically, they're saying it's a minimum of 9 months, but more realistically, 15 months for that to happen. For the channels
Really?
of the paperwork. Yeah, the system's broke. I spent quite a bit of time. I have the woman's name that I spoke to. I got the woman's name from Cassandra,
Yeah.
a matter of fact, and that's what she told me. More realistically, you're looking at 15 months to a year and a half for that
That's
transition
crazy.
to happen.
And
And
what-
meanwhile, I'll be stepping out of a builder's development loan into a normal mortgage, and without the lease of that unit, the bank is not going to want to do it because I've already got the wheels in motion for that for the middle of April coming here.
Okay.
and
Okay.
who's telling you this? MCO Housing?
Yes. And she's in charge of it. It was Mary O'Halligan, I want to say. I do have it in my office. I'm out in my vehicle because I got a inspection with the Cohasset Fire Department this morning. They're going to be inspecting the fire alarm and the sprinkler system as part of the occupancy permit avenue, and
Yeah.
just it gets noisy in there. So, but that's what she told me, and she said it is possible to do what we are doing. That's what she actually recommended.
Oh, okay. If she says it's possible. I mean, I can circle
Yeah.
back with her
Yes,
to see if that's okay. I mean, my other thought is you could get the person in that meets the requirements. You know, I mean, if it's going to be a year-long process, who knows? They
Mhm.
might want to move after a year. And
Right.
if you can't do it with them, we could just do it with the next tenant, that comes in, have everything up and running. But I can follow up with Mary after this call as well.
Okay, good.
So, John, what's the story with the rest of your units as far as occupancy?
There's been a lot of inquiries about it, so those aren't going to be a problem either. So it's just a matter of as soon as I get the occupancy permits here, then I'll just take rental applications in,
So if I'm understanding correctly, you have to have full occupancy before you can
They
get a
want,
mortgage.
yes, exactly. They want 100%. It would be a minimum of 90%. That includes the retail commercial space on the first floor as well. So it's pertinent to get, all of the units leased out.
What do you know yet what you're doing on the retail space? What kind of?
Yeah. There's been there's been a lot of inquiries on office space and things of that, nature, light, retail. And the size of them and the way that I have it designed, it's not going to be a problem. And there's been a lot of inquiries on, that as well. And I haven't even advertised that I'm in the real estate, business. I haven't put it on MLS or anything. I'll be doing that shortly. So the future is looking, positive for that.
And certainly we appreciate the quandary with the delays in the MCO approvals.
Right.
Are there any other comments from Paul or from David?
No, I'm good. I was just following on with my comment where I had a comment, but it was Rob got it, so it's great.
All right, so then we need to consider it. Are you still looking for, or is it necessary at this time for us to disperse any of the monies that we have said we could commit to the process? Are there fees that are being charged for at least starting the process now, even though it may take up to 15 months to complete it?
Not at the moment. I can certainly reach out to Cassandra and the board here. I'll keep everybody posted.
Okay.
And things are going to move pretty, quickly here over the next, couple, 2 to 3 weeks.
It certainly is in our interest to have an affordable unit in the property. So the intent behind the letter obviously is to do what we can to support you in getting this clearly designated as affordable within the town. So this is a little outside of my expertise area in terms of the legal terms. Cassandra, can you give us some guidance on what we can offer Mr. Schiavo at this point on which of those 3 points? There's a total of $15,000 dispersed in $5,000 increments. Is there one that we could we need to approve today to be able to be sure that he has access to the funds when he needs them?
So the way that the letter was written out with the help from Karis is essentially the first step would be to get a contract signed with MCO, perhaps with the intent of, you know, doing that eventual lottery down the road once things are approved.
Okay.
If you were going to go in the order that it is listed in the letter, that would be the first step. Steve had talked about at the last meeting, potentially going out of order, whereas step 3 is released upon proof that the affordable unit is occupied. He wasn't sure if that would be legally correct. I was hoping that Karis would be here. Obviously she's not.
Okay. Rob, you have a bit more Rob Jeffers, bit more expertise again than I do. Does it, I'm going to throw this out there as for discussion. Does it make sense at this point to approve release of one of those increments of $5,000 once Mr. Shivo has made contact and has some kind of assurances that the process is in order through MCO to cover his expenses in getting that processed, based on the approval or review of our attorney Karis North? Is that too
I'm
much?
not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure which Rob you were asking.
Oh, I was asking you, Rob Jeffers.
Yeah. I mean, my view is we have an agreement. I would say we continue to follow it. I don't think, you know, the $5,000 is going to change the timing on this project. If he signs a contract with MCO, we release the money. You know, and until then, we wait. But I unless, you know, he tells us otherwise, I can't imagine that that's going to be the make or break decision in signing a contract with MCO. It's like when he does that, then we would release it as, you know, as agreed.
Thank you. That makes very good sense.
Yeah,
Would
and
you like?
I agree with that too.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? I may be going out of order here, but just to hear the voices.
I think that just at the end of the day, all you're gonna wind up doing is changing the date of the letter. I mean, that'd be about it. And the
Okay.
letter, self-explanatory.
Okay. Rob Jeffers, can I ask you to put that suggestion in the form of a motion or a vote?
Sure. What am I suggesting? That we just change the date on this letter?
Essentially, it would change the date and step number 1 that we would release $5,000 to Mr. Shivo, concurrent with signing a contract with the MCO.
Yep. So make a
No,
motion to. I mean, it's
Rob,
Wait a
before you
sec.
do that, I
Yep.
don't see the necessity of changing a date. We're not changing any of the terms.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree. I don't think if we're going to stick to the letter, I don't think we need to vote to change the date. The contract would still be
It's like the letter doesn't expire on a certain date, so there's no
Correct.
reason
Yeah, agreed.
to make any
Okay.
change. And when the you know, which we've already said, when the first step is completed, then we release the money.
Okay, that sounds right. I'll make the motion that we agree here to release the first $5,000 to Mr. Shivo when we have evidence or proof of signing a contract with the MCO to begin the process of establishing 1 unit of the 3 under the affordable housing guidelines.
I will second that.
All right, let's take a vote, please. Rob Jeffers,
Aye. Rob Jeffers, aye.
David Pfeiffer,
David Pfeiffer, aye.
Rob Henry,
Rob Henry, aye.
Paul Grady,
Paul Grady, aye.
Cindy Matheson, aye. So that motion is approved, and hopefully that helps you get on the easy path back towards getting your mortgage as well as preparing the unit for affordable housing. And we appreciate the work that you're doing on a voluntary basis to bring in a family who would qualify under the affordable housing rules.
Very good, thank you. And you all. Yeah,
Okay, good luck with the
Fire department.
inspections.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shivo.
All right, you have a good day. Bye-bye.
Okay. Now what we've all been waiting for, Rob, the financial update on Bartholomew and our investment with them.
Yep. So I think we met with them on Monday. Think the meeting went well. They came. Cassandra was there, as well as the finance officer and the I don't know, the two people from the finance group.
The town treasurer and the town accountant.
Thank you very much. Yep. I think we had a good discussion. They understand what we want to do. They have a copy of our IPS investment proposals. I'm sorry, my mind's not working well this morning,
The
but yeah,
investment policy strategy.
that's it. Yeah. So what they're going to do as a next step is they have their own form for that. So they're going to convert ours into that. But we had a good discussion on what we're looking to do, what our time horizon is, that our risk tolerance is really low, that we want to have, cash available. They all got it. They'll probably take, some time to convert out of the stuff that they have, look for opportune times to sell out. You have some bonds that are maturing, so might just wait for those bonds to mature before investing them. We said that's fine. But what they'll do is they'll send me, hopefully before the next meeting, their version of the IPS, which I'll bring to this meeting I'll send it out to everybody. We'll bring to this meeting and we'll approve it before signing it. But but it should be pretty consistent with what we had. But I think overall positive meeting. Think they get it. They understand what we're trying to do. So I think we're in good shape.
I think it's terrific that we've been able to move it off the really restrictive municipal requirement. So thank you for taking all the time to get that straightened out.
No problem.
All right, so we don't need to take a vote on that today. We'll make that at our April 10th meeting. So
right
on the agenda, but it should be set for the agenda by then.
Yeah. So Cassandra, did I miss anything on that?
Nope, I don't think so.
Good.
Okay. Good. All right. Yep.
And great that you were able to bring in the town treasurer and accountant too.
Yep. All good.
So anything more on that then, Rob?
No.
Okay. So I would just encourage everyone, since we had a little bit, it's been tricky lately to get a quorum, to be sure that we can have enough of us there on April 10th to get this signed and underway, because it's been on the discussion for quite a while and be good to have it in place. Oh, we lost you. Are you trying to speak, Rob? Rob Jeffers? Okay, if no more comments, then there's an additional agenda item, a South Shore Habitat for Humanity letter of support that was put on in the revised edition. Can you update us on that, Cassandra?
Yes, so Tamar reached out yesterday. I'm gonna pull it up as well. Make sure I'm pulling up the right letter. So Tamar with South Shore Habitat for Humanity reached out to Steve and myself yesterday, looking to get a letter of support from essentially the trust in support of their application to a grant through, I think it was T-Mobile, for their project in Easton. I guess T-Mobile doesn't service this area, so they are unable to apply for the Cohasset project. But I guess they service Easton, so they were looking for support from the trust for that grant application. This letter that I'm showing on screen To be honest, I'm not sure how she formulated it. She must have taken another letter that Steve had signed because she was asking if he would support this letter. He didn't sign it yet. Obviously, that's a digital signature that you're seeing there.
Okay.
But he asked me to put it on the agenda for today. So I guess he was asking me to put it on the agenda with the intent of whether or not you guys would like to support this grant process. And then if that's the case, I guess I could she already has the signature. So I guess I could just give the okay for her to submit it.
My first question is the $80,000 number accurate? For some reason I had in my head it was 75,000.
It was 75 and then an additional 5 from the
movie
funding. Yes.
Right,
So
okay.
that 80,000 has been expended at this point.
Okay, so that concurs then.
Yes.
Is there any discussion about supporting Habitat with this letter that Steve has already given his approval to? Okay, and do we need a vote on this, Cassandra, or?
I think it would be good to officially vote, whereas there's a signature involved.
Okay, let's take a vote in approving this letter in support of South Shore Habitat for Humanity as they are applying for a grant from T-Mobile in 26. I'm really trying hard to read that, Pontiac Avenue in Easton, Mass. So,
I feel like that was a good guess of pronunciation.
is there any other discussion? Okay, no discussion, then we will take a vote to approve this letter of support. Rob Henry,
Rob Henry, aye.
Paul Grady,
Paul Grady, aye.
Rob Jeffers. Maybe having sound issues. Let me go to David Pfeiffer.
Sorry, I'm on 2 calls. I stepped away for a second.
We're just voting to approve this letter of support for
yes.
Habitat for Humanity in their application for grant.
David Pfeiffer, yes.
Excellent. Rob Jeffers, do we have you? All right, well, we still have a quorum, so Cindy Matheson, aye, with 4 votes. We approve the letter of support for Habitat for Humanity. Although I take that back. I didn't get a second in the motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Paul. Can we do that backwards, Cassandra? You can see I'm not
Sure.
running these meetings.
That's okay. I was just going to make that point that nobody officially seconded it. So we'll just say that Paul seconded it.
Yeah, I got to go back and review my Robert's Rules of Order, clearly. Okay, so motion passes with 4 affirmative votes. And next meeting date is April 10th. Any questions about that or any other topics anybody needs to bring up or wants to bring up? Okay, let it be known that we finished our agenda items at 9:17 and we'll call for meeting vote to adjourn. Would someone second that, please?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul. So roll call, Rob Henry,
Rob Henry, aye.
David Pfeiffer,
David Pfeiffer, aye.
Paul Grady,
Paul Grady, aye.
Rob Jeffers.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, okay. Cindy Matheson, aye. So thank you, everyone, for making the time to be here and get these items done.
Have a great day.
Okay,
We'll
thanks.
see you all on the
That's right.
10th.
Thanks, Cindy.
Very good.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.